this has always been a question I've always been scared of. And over the last 7 or 8 years, it's gotten a hair easier. There's 2 ways I think about self-awareness. One is incredibly personal, and the other one requires others. One, I actually think that almost everyone actually knows the truth about themselves, but have built up so much posturing that it becomes their subconscious and they can't even tell the difference. So I talk a lot about with my friends and family and people I care about and groups like this, just really go there in a dark room by yourself, and just really go there and be like, no. Gary's right. I'm just going to do this because I think this is going to make me happier. And just actually put pen to paper on the shit that you're full of shit about. And I really, even just watching you all move right now on screen, all of you can probably come up with one thing that you say and act on that is not true. So that's big, John, right? That's big. The second one is kind of cool, which is how do you get 3 to 4 people that know you the best, right? And you spend some time with them prepping them. You have a dinner, you hang out once, and you basically build them towards this day, a couple weeks out, where you ask them to really call it like it is from their perspective. What are you good at? What are you bad at? What do you do that fucks them up, but they've never been able to tell you because you love them, they love you? And you kind of make these 3 to 10 people feel really safe to really tell you. And you know that it's true. The thing that worked for me is I don't lie to myself. I don't want to trick myself. You know what I mean, John? People posture, bro. And this goes back to loving yourself over others. I think the biggest reason people posture is because they value other people's opinions too much.
No facts.
You know what I mean, my man? I'm just not really worried about if someone thinks I'm cool or good looking or smart or clever. I'm just not there. Of course I'd like to be liked, but it's and I'm normally very liked by anybody that knows me. I know that you guys and gals have people in your life that don't like me. That's because they watched one video once out of context and take a hot take. They don't really know me like that. And so, it's just really being honest with yourself and putting the people that are closest to you into a framework of being honest with you. And then you start working on it. Let me give you an insight at this young of an age that might really hit for some of you. Let me tell you why there's no value in posturing or faking the funk. It's because you can trick the 98% and the 2% is who you actually want. And the 2% are the ones that are turned off by your bullshit. You're just tricking people that are trickable.
Gary, my grandfather, he taught me, you can't shit a shitter. That was his line. So it's totally that.
You know what? Couldn't have said it better to you. Because nobody has ever tricked me ever in my entire life. Nobody has tricked me ever. I know that there are other, what am I, one of one? Definitely not. And so I say to myself, then why would I do that and lose equity with the people that are most talented just to trick the ones that are trickable? Because when you're tricking trickable people, somebody else might trick them onto you.
That's what I was about to ask, in terms of I think you got to it earlier, but the losses and games that come from that, from tricking trickable people, but also not tricking, not bullshitting a bullshitter.
It's just the same thing, right? For you guys, you're so close to this, given your age. Think about all the people you tried to be friends with in high school because they were cool or good looking. And then now, just 7 years, 5 years, 6 years removed from it, you're what the fuck? You have no interest in those people. It's just that keeps going on past high school. So I tend not to overthink at all. I'm very intuitive, and most of my business mistakes have been to act too quickly and then have to bail out. I have found that speed trumps everything. And so for me,
when I weigh opportunity costs, I'd rather start something, both money and time, if I intuitively feel it, and then let it fail 6 months or a year later. New concepts I have for Vayner, new divisions, new types of wines for Wine Library, things I've done for my own brand. And I want to push so many of you for this. I really want to push a lot of you. So many of you are not taking action because you overthink it. You overthink it. You overthink it. I always say deploy your resources that you can afford to lose. A lot of you don't have the dollars. I used to not have the dollars, but I had my time. The reason I punted my 20s was because I didn't have money, or I didn't have a lot of it. You know, a lot of you hear about the $3 million business. I love when people like try to rag on me and say, oh, if everybody had $3 million business. I mean, every single kid that gets $500,000 in startup, which was millions, had more dollar resources than I had. We didn't have dollars. Business did $3 million. It made $300,000 in profit in selling $3 million worth of liquor, and then it still had to pay expenses. And my dad took home his salary. Like, we had no money, but I had my time. And I would test things, and I stayed up. I didn't punt my 20s for kicks and giggles. I punted them because the only resource I had was my time. And so I had to work 18 hours a day because it's what I had. Got it? So taking action is, especially if it doesn't cost you money and it's just time, is always a better answer than pondering or thinking or trying to decide if this is gonna work. You don't know. The learning of the failure is as equal to the victory of it. Right? The learning, the things I've learned in my 20 years. The reason I'm so advanced as a business person in my own mind is not only have I worked a lot, but I've, this work hard, work smart thing, I've worked smart. And one of the smartest things I do as an entrepreneur and a business person is I do things so I can understand whether they work or not. You can't just sit here and say, is this gonna work or not? Debate it your whole life, never do it, and then not know the answer. Like, you don't know. Like, one of two great things happened. One, you did it and it worked, and you made money and you won and you got accolades and it worked. Wine Library TV, it worked. The Wine Library, the classes that I was gonna do, or I'm trying to think of things that fail. It's like, so another thing is I just forget them so quickly. I'll work on this. You know what, India? I wanna do like top 11 things I did at Wine Library that didn't work. Local van delivery at scale I never did. So one of two things happen. Either it works and you make money, the email service, it worked. Or it doesn't and you're like, well, I'm not gonna do that again. But this whole indecisiveness when you can do it. If you don't have the money, you can't do it, so what the f are you thinking about it for? I wonder if I buy a building in New York City, will it go up in value? I wonder. The answer is it's gonna work, but guess what? I don't have $400 million liquid to buy an Empire State Building type building, because you can't even buy that for $400,000. You need $400 million. So this is an interesting question. The answer is no. I've never failed because of indecisiveness. I've only failed because I've done stuff, but I'd argue that I didn't really fail. I learned. I might have micro failed, but I macro won.
And people are really good at talking about all the bad things that social media has done without realizing all that social media is empty vessels that expose us. And so, I don't believe one person on earth became a racist because of Facebook. I think Facebook exposed that they were a racist. And so, I don't know. I think social media has exposed me to be a better person than people thought, because I am a better person. So I think this is a game of exposing, not a game of changing. And so until we realize we have a lot of work to do on the parenting front and on the education front, and humans are audacious. We need way more humility. Way more humility. I love watching all of you come into Vayner and thinking you actually know something about social media because you've been using it for your teenage years. That has nothing, using social media to hook up or watch some shit that you like has nothing to do with using it to sell shit.